Welcome guys. In today's video I'm going to show you how you can write some polynomials and print the sum of the equations as well as their difference. So a polynomial is basically nothing but a sequence of powers of a variable such as x added or subtracted from each other. Basically it is a combination of some variables along with their coefficients. So a polynomial of degree 3 is a polynomial which has the highest power of x as 3. So in that polynomial we can also have other powers of x such as x power 0, which is nothing but 1. We can also have x power 1, x power 2 and finally x power 3, which is the highest degree which x can assume in that polynomial. So in this C program I am going to show you how you can print the sum of some polynomials as well as their difference. So first of all, by this statement I am asking the user how many equations he wants. So I am taking that input inside the variable n, and after that I am asking the user what is the maximum degree for that polynomial. I am taking the input inside the variable m, and then after that I am dynamically allocating the two-dimensional array which has n rows and m columns. So why we have n rows? We have n rows because I am assuming that the user is taking n equations, and inside this for loop I am allocating all the columns, and we have m columns in the matrix which we are going to create because we have m powers of x. So as in the example which I had mentioned before, we have the highest power of x as 3, so we have 4 powers x, that is 0, 1, 2 and 3. So if we take that example, then m will assume the value of 4. Now I am going to dynamically allocate the sum array by using the dynamic allocation in C, and I am also going to allocate dynamically the memory spaces in the pointer difference. So after that I am taking the values of the coefficients by running these two for loops. So the outer for loop is going to denote the equations, and the inner for loop is going to take the coefficient of the different powers of x. And then I am going to invoke the sum of equations function. It is taking 3 parameters or arguments, which is the matrix A, the 2D matrix A, having the dimensions n cross m, that is n rows and m columns, and also we are taking the input as, and also we are taking the other parameters as n and m. Now let us go on to see how the sum of equations function works. So basically it is nothing but, if we have one matrix which is the A matrix here, the first, second, third, fourth and other rows of the matrix denote the various powers of x. So the first row contains the different powers of x such as x power 0, x power 1, x power 2 and so on. So if we want to find the sum of all the respective coefficients of the various powers of x, then we have to add the coefficients of the different powers of x. So suppose we have 5 equations, and in the 5 equation we have the powers of x as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we have to add 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So which comes out to be 15. So in the sum polynomial, the coefficient of x will assume the value of 15. So this is what I have done here, and I am finally returning the sum pointer, which is going to take the coefficients of the various parts of x, and I am returning the sum pointer right over here. So after returning the sum, I am storing it inside 1D pointer, and now let us print the sum of the equation. So basically I am doing nothing but I am printing the sum of the equation as is present inside the sum variable. I am doing this by means of this for loop over here. So this for loop is going to iterate m number of times because we have m powers of x. So if I equal to 0, then we are going to print the 0th power of x's coefficient, which is the sum of I, and if I equal to 1, then we have to print the coefficient of x power 1. So in this we have two cases. If the coefficient is positive, then we have to print like this, and if the coefficient is negative, then we have to print like this. Here one thing you must have noticed is that we are not writing the plus symbol before this because it will be negative, so we don't have to write that. It will automatically assume the value. And the other condition is that if we want to print the coefficients of the higher powers of x, that is the coefficient of the powers of x, that is the coefficient of the powers where x's power is more than 1. So in this also we have two cases. The only difference is that instead of writing x, we have to write x and then the exponent symbol, and it will be followed by the power of x itself. So here also we have two cases as we have seen in the previous case, and after that we are going to take the arguments of a, n and m and invoke the difference of equations function and store the return value inside the difference. So likewise we are now going to see how the difference function works. So here is the difference function. Actually the basic difference between the sum and the difference function is that the difference function will first of all take all the values present in the 0th row of the matrix A, and then for the rest of the rows it is going to subtract the respective powers of x one by one with the help of this for loop. So this is what is done here, and this is the for loop where I had basically taken the values of the first row inside the difference array, and inside the other for loop I am going to subtract all the other rows from the first row. So finally we will get that difference row, which is going to be the respective coefficients of the final polynomial, which we are going to obtain by subtracting the other polynomials from the first polynomial. And like the sum, we are going to return the difference also, which is a pointer, and after we return the difference, it is going to get stored inside this variable. Now we are going to print the difference of the equations as we had done in this case. In the previous case, how we had printed the sum of the equations, we are going to print the difference of the equations likewise. So in this case also we are taking two conditions inside the else if condition where I equal to 1, and for the else condition for powers of x greater than 1 we are going to do the same as we had done in the case of the sum. So after that we are going to free the pointer variables a, sum and difference so as to effectively utilize the memory space. Okay, so now first of all let me compile the code and then we are going to run it. So the compilation is finished and now the code is executing. It is taking some time. So for instance, I am going to take the number of equations as 5 and the maximum degree is going to be 4. So for the equation 1, the coefficient of power 3 will be 2 followed by 1, 1, 3. For equation 2, I am going to enter some random values. Likewise for the others also. So as you can see, the sum of the equations is this one and the difference is this. So if you calculate, then you will also get the same result. Okay, so this was the execution of the C program which I had written to find and print the sum of some polynomials as well as their differences. Okay, so thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, share and comment on this video, and if you are new, then please do subscribe to my channel. It really motivates me to make new videos for all of you. So thank you. I will see you next time in some fresh video. Until then, stay safe and keep exploring.
Lit.